Oh yeah.
You haven't had a
Thoughts?
chance to watch it, but I'm going to watch it
Oh,
here when we
okay.
get done. I'll give you some good feedback on it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I actually got my domain yesterday. I was using my personal website, but I just think it's better for everything to be on that main website. So it's called contentmanagerblueprint.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the module right now where you talk about it's module 16, the website one. So
Mm-hmm.
yesterday it took a couple hours for the system.io to go from pending validation to ready to use.
Mm.
And so I just got that green flag just like an hour ago. And so right
Sweet.
now I'm in the funnel, just kind of plugging and playing all the things that you've been talking about, changing the privacy policy names from yours to what I'm looking to do. I just had a question about the website though. Is the funnel and everything that you built as I plug and play with this system.io just going to transfer over to that website? Like I'm not going to have to build anything on that website. It's all just going to be done.
Yeah. So you'll just, like you just said, you're going to switch out the pictures, change the names, but yeah, everything is already built. The only thing that you're going to have to do is obviously you've already made sure Stripe is connected, right?
I have not done that yet.
Okay. So you'll connect Stripe to system.io. You'll just go into the settings, and then under settings, you'll see payment gateways, and you'll just connect those two.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, that should be
And
done today.
then
I'm excited.
are you using who are you going to use for email?
Most likely active campaign. I already have the membership at 27.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I am today, I'm going to be, I don't know if anybody wants me to cover it or not, but I can. I'll probably put it in there anyway, just because if it's a valid, which I assume it is, or I wouldn't be using it. But I've got a lot of my martial arts business owners. They're wanting my old dojo student blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I'm going to put that inside of a system.io course. That way they just have it in that portal because I don't want to put it in the make once portal. So I told them, they can get on the weekly Q&A calls like this and, obviously work through the community because it is the exact same stuff. But for a lot of them, if I'm not directly talking about the martial arts industry, they won't put two and two together with it. So, which
Mm-hmm.
is understandable, it's just you focus on that thing. So I'm going to put it in there and create a course for it inside of system.io. And it looks like so far that it's going to be pretty simple and easy. But then all of them are just going to I'm just going to email them a private link to that course platform. But the reason I tell you this is because if you have system.io and you want to create some like little pocket trainings or something that you can give to people, and you don't want to put them inside of Skool per se for whatever reason, this could be like another way to provide like a free offer to get people on your email list. It could be another way to, um, create something of value and have that extra place that you can have. That's what I really enjoyed about ClickFunnels is and System does it too, obviously at a better rate. And so far, I've had no problem with System. I actually enjoy its simplicity. Um,
Mm.
but when you can have Skool as your core, and then you have another little, easy to use micro platform for like courses and stuff. Michelle, she's got a coach that she's with right now. She just started coaching with her, and this gal was sharing how um, and I got to get more details on it, but the common sense part of it's there, how they're using. other people's email lists and creating content at the same time to basically they were having like $1 million launches. They were growing, by hundreds of customers in a month doing this process. So I want to, and it doesn't require any advertising. So it's really cool. It's a way to tap into newsletters of other people for free that are like actually the newsletters of email lists of people that would be your best customers. And it's a really cool process. So if you want later in this, weekly call, I can cover what I've learned so far. But yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think that that's a really great thing to know and understand because right now a lot of influencers on LinkedIn are really going ham on their newsletter, building it up, inviting people via email. They actually have
Mm-hmm.
account representatives, like this person named Nicole. She reached out to my client and said, "Hey, I'm representing this company. I would love for you to join. You seem like a good fit. You seem very qualified. They're very selective on who they want on their list." And it's like we have 7,000 creators who are in this space that you're in, the creator economy, and we want to have it that way, keep it that way. So you've been like exclusively kind of invited and stuff. And so thus far, it's been pretty cool. So I'll definitely check out what you have to offer.
Actually, yeah, I've gotten a bunch of those emails, but I didn't realize until you just said that that's what it was. Like it was a collab, like to share the audience. But I've read a lot of those emails. That's crazy.
I never told
Yeah.
you, but my family on my dad's side are the Reyes family. Ernie Reyes Senior and Junior were family friends of ours, and my family was really big in karate, taekwondo, as a matter of fact. My brother, my little brother is a 5th degree black belt. My sister's a 4th degree black belt, and started like really young. So I think it's kind of cool that you've got that niche.
Yeah, it was
Mm.
a fun niche. I mean, it's the guys there, all of them were incredible people. Like I mean, kind of have to be, it's almost like a prerequisite, you there's all kinds, man. There's so many. It's a cool place though. It was a difficult space to get the internet across because they weren't really excited about it. They didn't want to have to do the internet. Now, some of them leaned into it extremely hard. And I tell you this because sometimes, like with your own things, you know, the the niche that you find, people think it's like you find a niche and it's like you are the niche. That's as easy as it needs to be. It doesn't need to go into any other rabbit hole. That's it. It's already extremely, if you're this type, this is another thing that I've learned. You can't like make somebody something, right? Like if you do that in your courses and your programs, it's gonna be miserable. You have to just, you're just more or less identify. You're like this lady that Michelle's coaching with said, think of yourself as like a beacon in the middle of the night, like a lighthouse in the middle of the night, and you're shining, and the boats that are looking for you will come to you.
That's a good
You're
analogy.
not, yeah, you're not trying to convince anybody to do what you're doing. And if you don't understand that, because it's a very subtle thing, it feels like you're trying to convince people. This is throughout all content, emails, course material. Because see, as you're creating your program and your course, you're constantly reselling people on the idea of the process and the system. And these are people that are already sold on the idea. That one thing you don't want to try to attract is people that are like, especially if you're teaching people how to make money, a lot of people that are just chasing money will come into your thing thinking it's an opportunity. And this is going to happen regardless. But they'll come in thinking, oh, well, it's just a way to make money. Like, I've never done any of this before. I'm not really interested in it. But if it could make money, then maybe I'll try it. And you'll get those types of people where in my messaging, I'm really trying to bring about like you want to teach and do stuff. Like me getting on my computer and creating like a lesson or something that I've learned and like synthesizing that, like that guy at synthesizers inside of Skool. You know who I'm talking about, the synthesizers group? It's like this dude's got a bunch of YouTube followers, and he's one of Sam Ovens' students as well. And he's got a group on there called Synthesizers, where he really teaches the free group funnel, like where you have like a school group that's free, and then you've got like a paid one, and you just get people in the free one, and then they move over to the paid one kind of deal.
Right.
Well, anyway, all we're doing is like synthesizing things. And it's, if you don't like to do that, if you don't like to actually teach people stuff and talk to people in a way where you're trying to assist them in getting more clarity in whatever, or getting to a result, this game just is really going to be hard for you, you know. Not that it can't be learned, but the point is if I get people in here and I convince them that this is a way to make money, because it is, if you're the right type of person. Otherwise, it's not. It's like, I think the way Gary Vee says this, which is a good analogy to what I'm saying, is he says, you know, what's the ROI of a basketball to me versus LeBron James? It's just a simple basketball. But when put in the right hands, it's $1 billion thing for one person. It's nothing for somebody else. And it's the same thing with whatever you're teaching or providing, because at the end of the day, unless you've got a little bit something different set up, but at the end of the day, if you're in the space that we're in, which is helping people solve their problems using the internet, which means you're helping people solve problems using text, video, pictures, and sound, right? Because this is the only way we can transmute information. If you're not capable of creating an audio or a video or a slide deck or a, you know, something like that, and you're not extremely eager and crazy about figuring out how to do that, this is not going to work for you. Right? It's just, it's kind of like, if you don't like shooting a ball into a basket hanging in the sky or in the air, basketball is probably not for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so when
I get
you
hung
can,
up on the minutia on it though, because it's like I sent you a message the other day. It was like,
are
it's
you
one
going too
thing to
niche?
see. Yeah, it's like, you know, yeah, Miro, you've got all the tools, but you know, my brain is always looking to create the path. You know, I know what to do. I know the subject matter very well, but where my biggest deficit has been in learning has been in actually getting that, expressing that to a system that then I put it on a web server, and then, you know, I guess I lack that ability to publish the content itself on the proper form. So I was like not sure, like I'm doing everything on Word or OneNote right now, and I'm not. And someone said don't use PowerPoint because PowerPoint slides make bad web pages, and I'm like, okay, that's typical. But then what else do I use? And so I've been kind of hung up on that.
Okay.
You know, it's like considering the web pages that you have on yours, I found a resource, you know, from my logo and everything. It's the brand something. I forgot the name of it. That looks really, really good, and they can provide me a website. They can provide me the actual pages.
So let me make this simple for you, because what you're thinking about has already been advanced way further. So here, check this out.
Yeah.
It's this simple.
Okay.
System.io. There's your website.
All right.
It does everything. It's got all your web pages and templates, and I give you a template. So with System.io,
All right. All right.
Okay. Which you got to go through the program, and I'll give you that stuff and show you.
Right.
But you, system.io gives you all your web pages and your funnel stuff. And then for your course stuff, you just use Skool. And Skool just, it's like intuitively easy to use. Like you just, once you get into it, you have a community just auto there. And then you can invite people. But I show you in the program how to do that. So it doesn't, so you're not so like about it, and you don't have to worry about it in that way. I think when it comes to like getting the information across to people or being too niche or anything like that, number one, it's just like whatever people are coming to you asking for help with already, there's your niche.
Right.
And you're either using whatever that power is that you have that people want, you're using that to help them get one of three things: money, relationships, or health. And it's probably really obvious which one you would be helping them with. Okay.
Right.
And then from there, as far as getting the information to them, you're just giving them the steps from how you go from this to this. And you're going to put that in some form that we can use, which is video, text, audio, picture.
Got it.
And then you'll put that stuff inside a Skool. But I'll lay that out more. But if have you went through the program?
Yeah, I've been I had some challenges with family and stuff that kind of got off track a little bit. But yes, I started taking the courses and about a third of the way through. But I've also been splitting time between learning on your end and then and on your on the site and creating my content built around that. So yeah, what you say makes exactly 100% sense. It's one of the things that I've had a problem with. It's probably why, I've been in the game as long as you have, probably longer. I turned my dad on to eBay in 1996, and I was doing internet marketing starting in 1996 when it was all brand new. And I just got paralyzed. The priorities of life and the priorities of life, love, and relationships and everything, I just did not have the focus or the ability. Or maybe I did, it just let other things take priority. And I'm 54 years old now, and I'm not. I am desirous for a change so bad right now that I'm willing to suspend my entire all my doubts about myself. That has been difficult to express to people without feeling embarrassed, because everybody has a drive, and they've got that focus, and it's something that it comes harder for me. But once I get it, I'm like, warp nacelles, I'm going warp 9.7. So yeah, that's all. It's just I'm taking active steps now, whereas I only kind of consumed. I'm going from consumer to action, and so I'm just
whatever you focus on grows. So power goes where your focus is. It's just that simple. So focus on what you want and what it takes to get there, and just remove everything else. Okay. And just let that have time to develop, because it's you can't force a tree to grow. Right. You're not going to force this thing. You're going to learn through experience. The best thing you can do is take massive action, because you'll learn more if you go pick up a bicycle and you never rode one before, you'll learn more trying to just pedal that thing down the road than you will reading about how to pedal it down the road.
Right.
But if you can do both, you'll get there quicker. But in the beginning, you have to almost overfeed yourself, because you have to just get in the consistent habit of learning what are the, first principles of this machine.
Right.
What are the basic components? I remember John Carlton. He's like a really famous copywriter, older dude. He literally was like, look him up, John Carlton. He's like one of the greatest copywriters. He's like out there with all of them, all the big guys. And he'll go to copywriting conferences and he'll be like one of the speakers in each of the rooms. And then they'll have breakout rooms, and the breakout rooms are like, never done copywriting, been doing copywriting 1 to 5 years, 5 years plus copywriting, making, $1 million a sales letter and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they said it's so funny and these are the other big speakers that were talking, the other big copywriters and stuff. They said it's so crazy. Old John, they said, he every time they do a breakout session, he'll go to the beginner's room, and they're like, he's one of the greatest copywriters ever. And every time the breakout rooms happen, he always goes to the beginner's room. And they're like, why do you do that? And he goes, because if I'm missing even one of the basics, then I have no reason to be in these other rooms. And so every year he's like, I just remember the basics. And he goes, that's what's led me to be a multi-million-dollar paid copywriter. I think Coca-Cola paid him, he was like $1.8 million for a 1,200 word paper or something like that.
Wow.
But it makes them so much, But the
Yeah.
point that I'm getting at is everybody gets lost in all this advanced technique crap, and they can't even do the basics. And really, I don't think you ever really need to get out of the basics.
Right.
So
That makes total sense.
when I get something new, I consume it as much as I can consistently. I'll listen to the same hour and a half training video 10, 15 times, because every time I listen to it, I hear the part that I didn't hear the first time. And then I just consume it. I read it. I do it. I consume it. I read it. I do it. And then I start looking for patterns. And then I just start simplifying it. And then I'm like, okay.
I stop and take notes. So like I'll stop, I'll listen, and then like with your the VSL video in the beginning, I'd stop and I'd write and I'd go a little bit more and stop and I'd write it down. And I think it does the exact same thing what you're saying. And I'm a lot further along than I'm leading on. I told myself I wasn't going to be in a hurry. I have a great job. I love. And my husband is finally starting his job on Monday. So, I'm not in an absolute hurry.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what I'm more focused on is quality. I've seen 2 other writing-based niches on TikTok, and I saw one on Facebook just the other day. I think somebody's listening to me because you know how when you mention something and you're talking about something, next thing you know, an ad showing up somewhere. But I'm not looking to reinvent the wheel either. I realize that, and so that's why what you're saying is making 100% sense. You just follow the process, and all will be revealed. And so that's just what I'm going to continue to do. But I have a feeling that doing that, then I'll be, once I get to that system.io, I'll be able to start putting more wins in the community. It's taking those next steps as I get there.
So
I know
go
ahead. No, go ahead.
I just want to make sure everybody gets taken care of before we keep going on and on, unless it's like a pertinent question, So
I appreciate you addressing that for me, because you gave me a lot of clarity. I appreciate that.
So what's up?
No, everything's good. Everything's going really good. Did a crazy workout yesterday and it like knocked me on my ass though.
Isn't it crazy how it does that?
Yeah. Yeah, it was my first one in a while, and I signed up to a new gym, and it was a much better experience than the other gym I was going to, which cost twice as much. But yeah,
I'll tell you something that I did that it was a little somewhat out of my comfort zone. I mean, not really, but because I did martial arts growing up for like 6 or 7 years or something like that, and then completely stopped. But I went to a boxing gym and didn't go there to like box anybody, just to do all the workouts, and it was killer. It was so awesome. Like
yeah, boxing looks like fun.
it's so like they had a circuit set up in the gym where they had a real heavy bag and you just do like 50 of these on each side, and then the next one would be like top, and then next one would just be like hooks, and then jump rope, and then all this stuff. But man, you get done and you're like, you really get, it gets you in a different way, it's like really crazy good workout.
Yeah, I like that because you get that full like body sweat and like you feel everything. I think
Hmm.
people overcomplicate working out, and it's really just whatever you can do that just gets that whole like you feel it everywhere. That's the best.
Yeah.
Sometimes
No,
that's
it's,
all people need to just feel better.
yeah, it's like categories. I like all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It's like if you're gonna, there's a lot of different ways to do that stuff, like
Yeah.
play different, just random things, or just move consistently at a overly normal pace for 30
I got
minutes to
I
an
got
hour.
these things.
Oh
This one's
yeah.
150 pounds. This one's 200 pounds, and I'm working on closing this one.
Yeesh.
Huh.
Oh, you can get some grip too.
Yeah. And then I have like the climbing like pull up thing with like the finger holes and stuff. And it was the first time I was able to just like hold on with two fingers because I've been training with these. So that was pretty sick. But in terms of like what we're doing here, the gym, I mean, now I see it everywhere. I see the pattern everywhere. Attract, convert, deliver. Like it's literally that simple for whatever business you're in.
Hmm. Yeah, once you get, and see, this is what happens that I've noticed in business over the years, especially if you're trying to teach it, because you always have to try to simplify everything to teach. And you see this just super basic pattern. It's always attract. It's like, well, how can I attract? Well, there's only so many options. And then convert. Well, how can I convert? Well, here's the best option, and there's only so many options. And then deliver. Well, there's Thinkific, there's ClickFunnels, there's Skool, there's Kajabi, there's all these little delivery platforms. Which one's the best with the best efficiency designed for what I'm delivering? And then it's like, okay. So in our business, it's as simple as that. But then you walk outside and you go to like a store that sells custom t-shirts, and they're what are they doing to attract? Well, maybe they're putting up sidewalk signs. Maybe they're holding lunch meetings where they present their thing, but you get a free lunch. There's all these bazillions of ways to attract. And then how are they converting? Well, they've got stuff hanging in a store that you can try on, and maybe they'll get your email for 10% off at the register, and then they can email you their next design. Maybe it becomes more of a mobile and physical. And then how do they deliver? Well, they either ship it or you take it off the hanger and stick it in a sack and walk out. And everything starts to become this. And so you realize that all business really is, you can just replace the word business with system or entity or unit or team or a bundle of something that solves a specific problem. And problem is not like ouchy, bad, negative. Problem is just like resistance. It's like checking to see if the connection has continuity or not. That's all a problem is. Problem's like, I'm here, but I want it to be here, and I don't know how to get it there. So whoever can get it there faster, easier, cheaper, more fun, they're going to get my energy, money. and everybody wants everything yesterday. And everybody wants everything to be fun, easy, happy, and smooth and efficient. So the closer you can get your thing to do all of that while getting them from here to here just increases the value. And then you just see it in everything. Then you can see it in the quality. And then there's just more variables that'll get added to it. Like, do you have to order materials to make your product do the thing? Who's going to manage that? And then all the values that have to go from one side to the other, meaning bills, payroll, what's owed, etc. They're just push and pulls. They're just who's gonna it's got to be taken care of because there's a transmutation from A to B and all these different little variables, and who's going to manage that, and who's going to manage the people managing that. But within it, and that's how it just keeps growing. Like you look at, like, I think Mark Zuckerberg was talking to Lex Friedman about this. I was just watching it last night before I went to bed, that the interview. I like watching like CEOs, like billion-dollar CEOs talk, because you can learn a lot just seeing their composure, how they think about things, how they speak on things, how much time they pause before they answer because they're really trying to think through what they're saying, things like that. He said, a business is just, Lex Friedman asked him about AGI, like artificial general intelligence, when basically machines are at human capacity or beyond. And Mark Zuckerberg's like, well, there's already a lot of things that do that. He's like Facebook, the company, it's smarter than one human being as a collective already. And that's all it is. Everything that you're doing in the business, everything that you're doing is just attract, convert, deliver. And you're just getting throughput. That you want continuity through that attract, convert, deliver cycle. And that's it. And then you start automating each process, pulling you out to where you're just the overseer. You're the guy up there doing this. Information coming in.
Yeah.
Like,
and
you
I was
look at
also
the guy, Richard Branson, that guy's got 440 companies. He gets like a big, I seen it in one of this interview things, a bio. He gets this huge leather like folder each day of 400 companies. And he's just going through the ins and outs and where things are. He's just like looking at things like like when you're inside of a machine, like, like a high loader or like a Caterpillar, all you're looking at, or a plane, you're just looking at gauges of ups and downs. And that's all it becomes. It gets way out like that. But if you got to think about it from both extremes so you can understand context where you're at. And if you can simplify it down to just Lego blocks, it makes it very simple. But then you have to get good at what you know to deliver.
I was also thinking how it makes sense. The attract, convert, deliver thing makes sense for even back in the day when they were doing startups. Like, you had an idea for a startup. It doesn't matter if it was a good idea or not. You still went out to find angel investors, and that's how you like got the conversion. You got the money, and then you delivered. And it might not have even been a real product, but you still won the thing anyway. You did the attract, convert, deliver thing. So it's true for like the big and the small.
Mm-hmm. It's just the process. And what makes it most difficult is that we do things in reverse, because you don't create something and then attract people to it. Okay, it's not how it works. You find people that are already looking for something. You learn about what they're looking for. Then you create something to solve what they're looking for. And then you attract, convert, deliver. So I, back in the day, used to always have a notebook. I was always coming up with ideas like, here's something. I need it. What can I do to make money? I was coming up with ideas like, man, I could sell this. I hear people like this. I don't know about this. And I was like, no. And then I turned around and I started listening, because I couldn't get it to work. I could not get my online business to work. I tried selling a course before, couldn't get it. I was like, man, what am I doing wrong? I see all these people making all this money doing this. What am I doing wrong?
Mm.
And then I flipped the script. I'm like, I was trying to create something.
But how do you
Instead,
justify doing that? I mean, how do you justify like
I
not
was
having
trying to
some-
create something when instead I should have been listening to a bunch of people that all had the same problem, and then go back to the lab, build something that solves the problem that everybody has,
Oh,
and then go back to them and say, hey, I heard you guys saying that you needed help with this and nobody was there to help you. So I went back to the lab and I created this thing that will help you get what it is that you want. And here it is. Here's what it does. Here's how it solves your problem. And here's how you can buy it.
mm.
As soon as I figured that out, I was like, oh, then I just was looking for problems everywhere. And I'm like, oh man, somebody could make something fix that. They'd buy that. People would buy that. And then it changed everything. And that little switch changed everything. That it went from like no money to money whenever.
So it doesn't make a lot of sense to make something. It would be better to kind of go out there and just do the lives, or and try to build around the questions or the comments that people are making.
This is why creating a free group, like for instance, let's say I started a Skool group. It was just free. You didn't have to pay to get inside of it. And it was for all fishermen. And I would attract fishermen in there because there'd be other fishermen in there, and there'd be different little free programs in there, like how to tie a knot, how to catch a fish, how to this, how to that. And then when all of them got in there for free, I would start listening to them commune amongst each other and talk. And I would start seeing people asking questions. I'd get on a Zoom maybe once or twice a week or a month, and I would talk to them and I'd learn. And if I kept hearing everybody say the same problem over and over and over again, I'd be like, do I have the resources and ability to create something that would solve that problem? If I do, I would create a training or create a solution for that problem. And then I would go into the group and I'd say, hey guys, I was listening to the community and I heard that you guys needed help with X. Well, me and the team or myself, I put together a training program that shows you how to solve X. It's $29.95 a month to be a part of that community. Do you guys want to join? And now I'm creating something based off a problem that I heard in the community. That's how you use a free group and transfer them over into a paid group. And then when they get to the paid group, it's the most amazing product because you built it sheerly from exactly what they said they had a problem with, not what you thought they would need to know or what you think is the best route. You literally heard it, helped them solve it for free in the free group, took that and put it into a paid program that's systemized out based off how they said they were dealing with the problem. And now you have the perfect product that you can then start refining from a point of already being really good. And the better and better your product actually does what it's designed to do, the more you get paid, the less energy it takes to attract people and convert them. And you create something that's useful in the world and you will be rewarded for it.
Someone who does this well is I've been watching Michelle's TikToks, and when someone has objections, she's so smooth with just handling the objections very smoothly.
Yeah.
I've been in that mindset now, and I'm watching lives just to see how sales are being made. It's just a conversation, really, at the end of the day. But if you have the mindset and the frame to understand, okay, questions come up, how do we answer those smoothly and calmly as possible? Like that's been starting to change my mindset and seeing how the live streams work and how they convert.
You got to remember when you become an entrepreneur, you're basically signing up for something that says that you want people to bring their problems to you. So if you can't handle problems and stress and pressure and you can't handle that, then entrepreneurship is not for you, because the sole meaning of an entrepreneur is somebody that decides to take their time and energy to create something that solves other people's problems. So you're signing up to be a problem solver. So don't complain when there's problems. You signed up to receive everyone's problems. Everyone that you're trying to help, everyone that doesn't know what you know, everyone that is going to work for you is going to bring you all the problems, because that's what you said you wanted to be. But when you sign up to be one of those people, it also comes, with reward. Okay. You can work your own schedule at any location you'd like, doing what it is that you enjoy doing, and you can increase your ability to leverage power because you've got your the one-eyed man in the land of the blind is king. So if you're solving problems, you're going to, of course, have more power. You're going to have, of course, more freedom and ability. It's almost like physics. So yeah, you have to just, and then you have to remember how this machine learns. It learns via story. We think in terms of images. So anything that's not self-actualization with vivid imagery and dot connections, our machine has trouble computing it. So before all of this stuff, it was like, oh, no, oh, no. And we're standing around a fire, and he's like, no, and then we finally got to like where we had some language, and now we just have tools to transmit that at rates and volumes that are just have never been able to do. The only real difference in life is we just have tools that allow us to connect with more people. Look at the most successful problem solvers in the world. What are the highest paid companies in the world right now? Things that transmute energy. Apple. Well, they're a computer that lets you get on the internet, and they just connect, all their stuff connects. And then Amazon. It's a place on the internet where you can get everything. And then you think about these companies like cell phone providers, the service providers. They're like these are the places that make the most money. These gas companies, the energy holders. It's anything that solves the most problem. You're either going to solve just a really big problem. Well, you only have to solve it once. If you cured cancer with a pill, any cancer in 5 seconds with a pill, you'd only have to do, you solved a lot of problems in one go. So you're going to make that one thing is it's priceless. Or you sell toothpicks. There's some guy that's got a mansion in every place he's ever wanted one, and drives the slickest car and wears the nicest suits, and he sells toothpicks. He just solves a bunch of little problems. So you're either going to solve one big one or tons of tiny ones. Or if you're real smart, you create a suite. Low ticket, mid ticket, high ticket. But you can't have you got to get the apple tree up, and you got to get your first batch of apples before you can have an orchard.
Even Zoom does that. They have the $15 version, then they have the enterprise version, which costs thousands, tens of thousands. Who knows how much it costs?
Pricing's simple. The more they get to the solution. Like, for instance, if somebody pays me like $9,800, I work with them consecutively every single day live for a few hours if I have to, until everything's set up. I can get everybody set up and ready to go in like 7 days. But then you've got something that can make 6, 7 figures. So really, I'm the one getting screwed. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's not getting screwed. I'm just trying to put it in that context as to, because some people think that, It's hard for them to charge high ticket, or it's hard for them to do those things. But it's like, if you paid me 10 grand and I showed you how to make even 10 grand a month, I'd be better to just charge you, 10% of your first year's earnings or something. Right? So like, do you want me to do that when you're making $1 million?
Right.
No, that'd be insane, right? But that's not a bad deal. For the first year, you get to keep 90%, I get 10%. But if you make $2.5 million, that's a lot more than $97 a month, isn't it?
I think you
So
mentioned it
yeah.
a couple of weeks ago about done with you, done for you kind of models.
It's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
You don't, again, it's like, you got to remember, the tree precedes the apple.
Right.
But the apple doesn't, this is the thing about what you're doing. And this is something it's just a story I can say. I can't show it to you real well. I could, yes. But it's like, when you plant a sunflower, you plant one seed. But if it grows and comes back, it doesn't just give you one seed back, it gives you 144.
Right.
So now you have 144 seeds that can give you 144 seeds back. Do you see how quickly this compounds? So what I mean by that is, like, when you've got done for you, then there's done with you, then it's do it yourself. Done for you requires a lot of your attention. You can charge a lot for it. Like me, I'll charge for done for you would be like way more than 10 grand, because I just don't want to do it because of the work it takes. And then there's so many variables and da. But that's the ultimate thing, is if I just did everything for you guys. And then
What would
there's,
be the
but you have,
levers that you would pull for raising a rate when it's a done for you service?
it's just more of you doing it. It's less of them, more of you. So that's the value proposition. But then but you have, here's the crazy thing. It's like, you don't necessarily have to, you could learn, but you'd still, the better person would have actually done it. Right. So like, for instance, like me doing what I'm doing now, I did the done for you, then I did the done with you, and then I've done it the do it yourself. Because, some people try to just go straight to the do it yourself, like teach that. But it's like, you've got to kind of be out there in the nooks and crannies and know like what actually happens. Right? Like when you're doing it for someone, like when I was doing social media marketing for people, where I'd literally drive to their place, take my camera with me, video them, take that video, go back, edit it, create all the crap, put it out on social media for them, and then handle all the incoming of that and disperse it out, and like doing all of that, and then doing it in multiple industries, liquor stores, massage parlors, you name it. That gave me an education that you're not going to get in a course or a book. It's
Right.
the nuances and little things of, interacting with people, and when they're like, well, you said it was gonna, what about, did it, there's all that going on. And I used to get upset about that. And I'm like, Mike, you signed up for that. That's why they're paying you X, and you're not working at $1 per hour deal. And then I went to the done with you, where I was just like doing less of it, teaching them. And then pretty soon it got to a place where I could help more people if I just recorded my process and gave it to them, and then coached them and supported them behind that. And that was the most leveraging thing. But I couldn't do it the other way, because it's like, you kind of have to do it yourself kind of thing too. It's like, but you can charge more now I can charge more, because now it's in reverse, right? So I can charge more for the done for you, because I can get it done. I've set it up so many times, I can set it up really quickly. Right. And that's what you'd be paying me for. The fact of you not having to jack with anything. I'm asking you a few questions so I can get the information on there that needs to be on there to do what it needs to do. And then I touch all the levers and controls and build everything. You just get to live in it afterwards. Like I'll build the house and get everything hooked up. You just come in here and live in it. Here's the instructions from this point forward. Here's how to keep the house temperature at this and clean. And that's kind of what happens in that. When you get into a place where you have the high ticket, like Mastermind in-person thing, it self actualizes in the value, because you imagine being in a room with 50 to 80 people that are all doing the same thing, all trying to achieve the same goals, and are all making 30,000 a month or more already. And you guys all get in a room for 3 days and talk about attract, convert, and deliver, and it's recorded. The conversations and the things that you'll learn there, you'll pick up one thing that makes you $100,000, and you're only paying 36,000 to be a part of something, but it makes you 100,000 every year after that, or a month. That's the value of like a in-person mastermind. It's about the collective of the room, not just me. But it comes later. I'm building right now. I'm building the trees in the orchard, and then it'll move as you guys reach those levels. Then you guys will start collecting together into the next tier of this, which would be like the in-person mastermind thing.
Okay, so that free group thing, I think if I put that, can I put my Skool invite link in my TikTok bio and people click that, like it takes them to Skool?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll just do that for right now while I'm, building other stuff, because then I have a place to put my Zoom calls that I've been doing with people I've been helping out. I can just put those in there and post them on YouTube. But I'm starting to understand Skool, because when you post, it sends an email to everybody, so it keeps people engaged.
Mm-hmm. It's right. Like an email list.
Yeah. So it's like at first it kind of does both of the things, because I really can't wait to have an email list. I'm like so excited for that, to just like email my thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, building an email list, I mean, you could be doing that right now. Just, yeah, having a free Skool group, getting people in there that are wanting to talk about the things that you're helping people with. That's, who you're looking for. Constantly learning about them. That's the difference. Like you're not going to make any money in this until you learn how to talk to your people. If they can't connect and understand what it is that you're talking about, how are you gonna? There's no way you're gonna get them to buy anything from you. If they can't understand, you need to be able to help them feel understood. And one way to do this, I always say, go to YouTube and pretend you're your customer looking for the answer. And then when those videos pop up, go down and look at all the questions and the engagement. You can go on Amazon, look at reviews, any product review of people that would be like, let's say that you sell, you teach people how to race mountain bikes, and you're trying to find those people. You can go listen, you can ask yourself, well, what do these people buy? Well, they buy mountain bikes. I could go listen to their reviews on mountain bikes. I could go listen to their, learning about mountain bikes. Like, what are they saying down in the comments? That'll teach you a lot about how they think. And if you don't know how people are thinking, and it's like, the more you know about the fish, the easier it is to catch, because you'll know where it's going to be, why it's there, what it's looking for.
I have started to realize that I've been doing a lot of this, and like when I watch Ty Lopez's TikTok live or Instagram live, I read the questions. And when I watch
Mhm.
people's live webinars, like you see the questions flowing through and I'm like, okay, this question is about like some nonsense. This question is more serious. Like this actually makes sense. So I kind of have a knack for that, but I really like how you talk about doing like going to YouTube with that intention, to like look for the questions.
Well, if you think about it, you're going on the internet, one of two things is happening. You're either pushing or pulling. You're either going on there to be distracted, or you're going on there because you're looking for something. You're using it for one of those two things.
Mhm.
So as all the things can be one, it's like a gun. You can use a gun to feed yourself or kill people. So you can use the internet to feed yourself or take your attention away. That's all it is. You can use every one of those places, like here's how I think about it. Anywhere a human can make an impression, that's where you can go find answers. Because 9 times out of 10, when you get, in front of someone, most of the human machines are significance driven. It's like the hierarchy of needs and stuff like all that jazz. But people love to just be heard in a way that they want to be heard. And if you listen to most people, they're usually complaining about something. They're usually talking about what they do or don't have, or because the humans, a lot of times, they use the essence of other as a soundboard to hear themselves think out loud or think through things. That's where collaborations become important. That's where things like this are helpful, because you're getting to explain yourself out loud to a soundboard, and hopefully that board can redeposit stuff that helps you think through. But most people, when they talk in comments, reviews, positive or negative, they're typically just telling you what they dislike or don't like and why, which is the key to solving anything, is knowing those things and how they feel. You want to know what they think about when they wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with a knot in their throat and cold sweats, and what's bothering them, scaring them. Because most people, like, you've heard that thing where somebody's like, I could never get in shape until I went to the doctor, and the doctor says, if you don't lose X amount of weight in X amount of time, you have the possibility of dying. Now all of a sudden they've found a way to lose the weight in that amount of time where they never could before. So what does that mean? It's like, we'll do more to get out of a burning building than we will to get a 6-pack of abs.
Amen.
So you have to learn how to find information where people will actually take and move. The only reason you guys are on here is because you want something in a financial gain way. You want to get, you don't like where it's at right now, and you want to get financial gain through this vehicle because of the benefits and the opportunities of the vehicle. And the only reason you're on here is in hopes that something that you hear or say or do is going to get you there faster, easier, and for sure. And that's all. And if you're selling money, that's what you're selling. You're really selling time. Time's way more valuable.
Or reallocating it. Reallocating it to, like
It's
you
just
said,
time.
yeah,
Don't
it's time.
it doesn't need to be anything deeper than that. Just
Right.
That's where one thing I've learned to do too. You can get into things like that and it just fogs your brain up for no reason. It's just time.
Mhm.
Try to get things simplified down, because the easier you can think and not get lost in all the train tunnels of what everything could be, the
Right.
better. Just keep it simple. Time, money, energy. It doesn't need all the wormholes. That's just distraction. It's pointless. Just remove those things and it's simple.
Like I can go to Starbucks and I get coffee and a breakfast sandwich and I have to pay $11, or I could go to the grocery store, buy all the things, make it myself, have to clean up, you know. That's how I've come to
What
learn
are you
about it.
paying for?
Or you can stand there and look at the menu without and not make a decision.
Well, that's yeah. Well,
Yeah, but
I
when
learned
you
how to
spend
I learned
money
how to
with
stop making
Starbucks,
decisions. Yeah.
yeah, and when you spend money with Starbucks, they're charging you for time.
Yeah.
And energy. You didn't have to go walk around the store. You didn't have to do all the crap. You said, "Ugh," and it landed in your hands.
Yeah.
People are like,
Basically
well,
with my
how can
guy
Starbucks
and
makes
yeah.
money with coffee? Well, they make you feel special with your coffee. They make you feel valuable with your coffee. And they're just doing coffee things, and it just feels nicer, and it feels normal, and they gave you all the sensations that you needed when buying coffee, and then they made that a symbol of coffee lovers, and then it became like this thing of working and this sophisticated, there's so many things that it does, and you just have to, you start seeing that, though. That's what this is about. This is what you're actually needing to learn, is this stuff. A frickin' funnel is a frickin' funnel. It's 4 pages that talk to each other. End of story. A page either gives information or takes information, or both, but it doesn't do anything else. So there's only 2 web pages on the planet: pages that give and pages that take information. They either give you information or take your information. That's it. Now you know every website page on the planet. Okay. How do you give information? You have four modes: text, audio, video, picture. How do they take information? Numbers, letters. Okay, that's easy. It is. It's that easy. And then you've got people that have this problem, and you're just communicating with them about it to where they go, okay, this person actually does understand my problem. And based off what they've shown me and the steps they've laid in front of me, I can see how that would get me from here to here. And if I can justify the price, and if I have this problem and they're willing to solve it, why not give it a shot? And then if it does, anybody they ever run into that has the same problem, they're going to tell them about the place that they found that fixed it the best. That's it. Now, you're going to get better at being able to deliver that information, though. Like, you have to learn how to communicate. You have to learn how to synthesize. You have to learn to simplify. And then, more than anything, be consistent. And it's still a journey of learning, because as you're doing it, you'll start creating content and you'll think it's all about teaching or something like that, when it's about helping them go, oh, I get it now. Okay. All right. See, I didn't get it before.
Right.
That's what content is doing. It's making them have aha moments. Because until they can see the path and how it works, they're not, very, very little people will, like, if they don't see it, they're not going to just be like, oh, here's my money. Whoa. Like, no, they have to be able to see how it makes sense. And the easier you can make that, the easier it is for them to understand it.
Right.
The more you complicate it, elongate it, the harder it's just like it's like, man, if you want to get that energy from this node to this node, just put a single wire here. You've got a wire, then this block thing, then you've got these other three things, and then you've got this thing and this thing, and it just slows the current down from here to here. Why? But that's easier said than done. Why do you think Google, like still to this day, you go to Google and it's just a search box? There's nothing else on there. Yes, there's a little bullshit in the corner down the bottom, but it's not like when you go there, it's just that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We've been, my Jeep, as long as tons of cars are like this, right? As long as the key's in my pocket, I can press start and it starts, and I just walk by my car and any door will open. I get in this, we rented this Toyota Camry, and I have to like click the thing, flip the key out, stick it in there, and then I have to actually press unlock. Could you believe this? It's freaking unbelievable that I would have to do that, you know?
Real problem.
But it's like, I literally, so many times I've been coming to the car and I'm used to having my hands full. And if I'm just by the car, I can just pull the door open with one handle and I'm good. Here I have to set everything down, pull this thing out of my pocket and click the button. And how ridiculous does it sound when some kid's eating a cricket in South whatever desert? All right. But my point is, it's like so much more convenient that like it's a must now. And it's those things like that, these little things that you can do in your business that somebody else isn't doing, that can really make a big difference. Still a great vehicle. Shit, it's been fantastic. The gas mileage is unreal, like compared to what I'm used to. And it's just a good old fashioned get your family to the grocery store and back and whatever, and that's fine. But these little tiny things make a big, big difference in your business, in your thing. Shave off a step, or something. So it's just, but then you have to like, the way I always want to say it in the easiest way is just really, really care about them getting the problem solved. That's the biggest thing there is. And do everything you can to make it as easy, as fast as possible. Again, easier said than done.
This is actually getting super easy for me because I have two people I'm trying to help right now. My guy in California that does the hardwood floors, he barely knows what Facebook is. So I'm trying to help him learn how to run Facebook ads and basically like teaching his people as well. And I have those calls recorded. And then I have another kid who's a college student and he's home for the summer. I'm trying to help him like get paid to do copywriting because I saw some other kid do it and I'm like, you could totally do this. It's so easy. There's ChatGPT. I'll literally tell you every step. So now I get to like think about how to help those people, and those are going to be my testimonials. I'm just going to like shove their video calls into Skool, and then that just makes it so much easier to attract new people because I know what I'm doing now.
And how many people in the world do you think have that same problem and desire like they do to solve it?
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
I mean, way more than hundreds of thousands.
And then if you just need 1,000 people paying you $97 a month, it starts to be like, oh, I just need to be consistent every day with my message and get better at solving this problem. And it's just, you'll know when you're getting really good at solving the problem because you'll have more and more energy coming your way in form of money, significance, because you become important to people when you can help them do something that they're trying to do that they don't know how to do.
Yeah, I posted that chat GPT sheet on my TikTok, and actually my brother-in-law saved it, and he has like a tech job. So I was like,
I
wow,
saved it.
yeah, yeah, like,
I
but that
saved
for
it.
me, that was a big win. That was like pretty cool because I actually helped my brother-in-law somehow, and he's like in IT, like way ahead of me. Uh, so that was
Yeah.
a cool feeling.
Yeah, it's never judge a book by its cover in anything. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that before,
Oh yeah.
but like, but it's super true. Like you can't judge anything. There's people like there's shit Elon Musk. I remember that damn interview he's doing with that guy. I've told you guys this. It was just some kid on YouTube that's like a rocket, like he knows rockets and all that stuff, but he's walking
I
around with
like that
Elon
channel.
Musk interviewing him. And Elon Musk's this engineer and doing all these crazy things, right? The guy on YouTube that's interviewing him or podcast, he's like, Elon said something about the fuel thing, and he goes, well, why don't you just reverse it like that? And Elon's like, yeah, that's great. I think so. It's like, so don't ever think just because who they are. And I tell you this because you lead with just the problem and the solution. Let the people come to you. You're not going to attract people. This is a thing that you just realize this. This will help you a lot with your messaging. You're not going to attract. You will attract what you're putting out. It's like the mirror principle. What you are emitting, you're going to attract whatever that attracts. So just keep that in mind when you're creating stuff. Like if you want to attract that person, what attracts them? If you're asking what attracts them, you have not done your homework. If I wanted to go catch hammerhead sharks right now, the first thing I would be doing is finding out what attracts hammerhead sharks. And then I'd be like, okay, now where are they? And when do they usually eat? These are the things that I would be starting to study. Otherwise, I would just be casting all day and like nothing would happen and my life would just disappear as I was doing this and I'd be mad about it. Anything else?
Oh, actually, I have to pop off, unfortunately. I got something's coming up. I have to fight a fire. Have a great day, Mike, guys.
All right, brother.
Take care. Take care,
Good
Todd.
luck.
Yeah, that makes sense about the catching the hammerhead sharks. It's obvious. Like if you know, like if you're a marine biologist and you want to go find hammerhead sharks to study, or you want to go catch them, you obviously have to know what they eat. Like that. Why is it any different for if you're looking for humans to pay you?
There's zero difference.
Yeah.
What's really cool is like you don't even have to. People leave like clues all over the place. They go out there and they go to places that are already, think about this. They're already being attracted by something else already out there. You just got to go where that is and stand there and watch and observe and listen. And by gosh, you're going to have everything you need. It's like if you're going to sell Bibles, where do you go set up your table that says Bibles for sale? Well, I would go by like a church or something because they're already flocking there. So like this is where in the beginning of this, where I was talking about getting the sales and energy and like growing your list big time fast using newsletters. It's like, and this person's talking about like find people that have like newsletters that have anywhere from 5 to 10,000 people on their email list and interview those people in exchange for them. All they have to do is email them to their list and your list. And the interview has nothing to do with you. You are not doing anything other than, hey, this is Mike from makeonce.com. And I've got Bijan on here. He's going to talk about what he does for XYZ tech setup. And I'm going to interview him today. And then tomorrow I'm interviewing Sahil. He's a content management expert. I'm going to have him talk about content management. And I would find anybody that's, maybe I'd go find a copywriter. Maybe I'd go find a website designer, maybe an email list person. And these are all people that they don't compete with my business, but they're all elements individually that I'm teaching in my business. And so I could interview all of them as long as they had the criteria of 5 to 7 or 5 to 10,000 people on their email list. And I would email them to my list with the interview. I'd put them in my program so other people could find out about them. And then I would get in front of their list and I would start growing my list. And imagine having 10 or 20 of these people that you could interview, make it all about them. And they could mention what they sell and everything, and they get access to your list. And you're just exchanging networks back and forth, and you're just growing like, because it's a value to you and them. And it can also become a course material, and it can also become shorts and YouTube longs. And like, then you're getting, just because you're providing the expert, you are considered more. Because
So Mike,
without you,
let's peel. That's a really interesting concept. I've not heard that.
it's
love it.
podcasts. This is what podcasts are.
Yeah, right. Can you take a step back? Got a few questions based on that scenario that's really powerful. So let's talk about the newsletter list that you refer to, that has whatever number of people that are in it. What's the best way to efficiently find that?
Like how to find email lists like this?
The newsletter specifically, like when you're talking about, hey, I want to get into and ask questions or even promote, so to speak, the interview process. Where am I going to do that? Where's the best place to look for the people that would be relative to what I'm trying to promote?
Right. So I think she's learning more about it, but from what I already know about the process, I'll tell you. But Michelle's actually the one, she bought the program from this gal that has done several like $1 million launches doing this process without spending money on ads, just going through like newsletters and building up an email list and then selling them something. But one of the things that she shares in there, and again, I don't have all the details yet, I will probably by the end of this week. She goes on like social media, and if they have so many followers, she has like a little system that she uses to like filter through and judge, because it's like everybody thinks they have to have hundreds of thousands of followers for this to work correctly, and that's not true. They can have several thousand, 10,000, 19,000, 20,000 people that follow them, and they're already attracting the type of people that you would like to get in front of. And so you go to their social medias, and she has this little outreach script, if you will, or a way to outreach to these people and ask them, hey, could I interview you as an expert, to share you with my followers? So I'd really like to get you in front of my followers. Our businesses don't, conflict each other, but a lot of you're in a master copywriter, and a lot of people in my email and a lot of people in my program would really benefit a lot from hearing from a copywriter like you. So, could I have 30 minutes and interview you as an expert, add you to my program so you get more exposure, email you to my list so you get more exposure, and then you can also share what it is that you sell as well. Now, I don't want anything from that, but you can do that. All I want is the interview. And then you're this person that's bringing this expert information across, and your logo's thrown in there, or it's presented by you at makeonce.com. So and then you get in front of their email list. That's the criteria. They have to email the interview to their email list. And so a lot of people will come to your list, follow your accounts, but that's how you would find them. You'd go out, like me, I would go out and think of what are all the individual parts to my system. Well, I'd go find people that know how to do content marketing, right? How to create YouTube videos. I could interview these experts and bring them to you guys. All right. So you get that value, you learn about them, but the criteria between me and the YouTube expert is he has to email that interview to his list. So it's just going to be, you can assume, not guarantee, but you can assume that if somebody has 10, 20, 30,000 followers on social media, they probably have some sort of email list or something, or you would hope, or they just have their followership too. I mean, what would that be worth if they did a post about you to 30,000 of their followers that are, already your type of people? All right.
That's a great concept.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to give it a whirl.
Sure.
Because there's just so much value in it. You can create shorts from that. You can create, this is what Gary Vee and all these guys do, right? He goes in, he stands on a stage and talks to a bunch of real estate agents. These are all business type minded people, or MLM companies or tech companies. These are all the things that he's in, right? And so he gets invited to those because people want to hear him because it's the same topic matter. And now he's getting all kinds of impressions to his stuff and followership and brand. And that's Alec Hermosi's doing this right now too. He's going on a bunch of stages. It's that level that you get to, or you can jump into it right away at this lower level and it'll just speed the higher levels up. You'll just get in front of more important audiences as you migrate through that. But you can do it at a very low level to kickstart your thing off. It's just leverage. People already have a grandstand of people that are your people. Go see if you can barter with them and exchange attention.
Yeah, great concept. Yeah, that all makes sense. And I was just trying to, okay, where would be the starting point to even go? The search mechanism maybe is my question to find the potential prospects, if you will, that would have those lists, the following that I want to try to get engaged with, that has that commonality that we can leverage one another.
I can tell you right now how I'm going to do it. I'm going to pretend I'm you, my ideal customer, and I'm going to go to YouTube and I'm going to search, because I know the problems. I'm going to search as if I haven't solved that problem, and whoever shows up, I've got somebody there, and now I can start the outreach process. But it's kind of like Russell Brunson's Dream 100 list, right? He finds 100 people he wants to get in front of their audience. And then every month he works on that list of 100 people to constantly try to get in front of them, because the moment he was able to email Tony Robbins' email list, ClickFunnels had a big blurb in sales increase. My guy, Sam Ovens, got involved with Ty Lopez, and Ty Lopez launched out my guy to Ty Lopez's list of 1 million something email subscribers.
That's where I saw him.
And poof, he was on the map. But it's a simple thing where you're both getting great stuff out of it. You're going to be sharing it's Lex Friedman just did this with Mark Zuckerberg. This is Joe Rogan does this every single day, right? He's just interviewing somebody interesting and great, and it's all about that person, not Joe. But because of that, Joe has become the antenna that transmits this information. So without that antenna, you don't get this information. So that's all you become. but it's a marketing tool that's actually very useful because it lives in reality. Like, unless you're a complete compulsive liar or something, if somebody's talking to you, you're going to come out with who you are. You learn a lot about a person if you just interview them, because they have to make snap decisions on the fly right there about what they're saying. And you're either going to uncover bull crap, or you're going to uncover what you wanted to uncover, which was not bull crap. Right. So it's a great model. I think it gives you an incredible piles of content that you can use to get attention, and you get it in a way that's very healthy and very useful. And I think it's a beautiful, I mean, Red Bull does this beautifully, right? People do, this is a very simple thing. It's just executing it. Will you actually look for somebody that has an email list that you can email? Will you actually interview them?
I actually have a tip for finding people on LinkedIn. Is you type in speaker, and then you can search industry, you can search location, because people will put speaker in their tagline on LinkedIn. I learned this from my LinkedIn guy that's teaching me the course, and that means that they're ready to be on a podcast, or they have a podcast, or you could search podcaster.
Beautiful. That's awesome. Very helpful. I imagine ChatGPT can help find some of these people too.
Yeah, I tried to connect with you on LinkedIn because my score is getting a lot higher. I'm getting close to the top 1% in marketing or whatever I'm in. And it's so easy. I should post like a bullet point list of how I did it on the community.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really use LinkedIn. I should. I know listen, all the platforms are powerful if you use them correctly. They all have their own power.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of the same thing of not utilizing LinkedIn, and I'm thinking that, since I'm initially starting with selling a course that would probably, if you look at defining what is my ideal candidate, it shifts more to a business professional than it does other areas, right? That would be in the top 10%. And that's where my audience really is. Now that you point that out, it's hitting me over the head like a hammer. That's really where I should be concentrating a lot of my marketing, because that's where business professionals focus their time on a platform.
Yeah. No, it's the good old fishing analogy. Like, where's your fish at?
It is. And I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know, maybe because I was hesitant because I did use it a lot when I was in my previous life. And I didn't want to commingle this new business with my old life. I don't know, maybe that was my resistance to doing it.
Yeah, there's something there that caused you to do that, obviously identifying that. But I totally get that, like you did, there was, conflict of interest. And I think, that's hopefully whatever now, not a block, but people are, there's a lot of ponds out there that have the same fish in it. You know what I mean? But then it's like, per time spent, where would be the most schools of fish that would be ideal, right? Because it's all about efficiency with action. If there's my fish are at LinkedIn too, but maybe YouTube's a better fishing pond per cast than LinkedIn for me. Or whatever.
No, I didn't mean to like say that TikTok wasn't as good. It's just like
no.
Yeah.
No. I don't think anybody's taking
It's
it
just
that
like
way.
optimizing your profile on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Like literally 5 things you could do, and if people start seeking you out, it's so cool. I want to share it with all you guys.
I think
that'd be great if you did that.
Yeah,
I'd appreciate it.
It's just no, I don't think anybody's taking it that way at all. I mean, listen, at some point, I want to be on all the platforms. You know, I want to hire somebody that's a LinkedIn pro to do it, somebody that's a TikTok pro to do it, somebody that's a YouTube pro to do it. And I'm going to create the videos, and then they're going to disperse it. It doesn't make sense for me not to go that route.
It doesn't. There's no downside.
There really isn't. It's just going to be like paying your electricity bill and taking orders from those experts that you're paying and doing it. You just need to be
Now,
prepared.
other than what, if you don't mind expanding, let's talk a little bit about that concept. Would they be, what value would that, because you're talking about an actual person, right, versus the software doing that?
I still think for quite some time yet, I still think a human can. I think a human will do a better job and will be more ROI per energy spent. And it would be one that knows how to use those softwares.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maximize. Yeah,
because
because there is definitely ways to do that. I'm learning that, like TikTok. I'm new to that platform, and my daughter knows it pretty well, so she's given me some coaching there, right, on different things you can do to get more followers. This is just a simple example. So yeah, I get that. More than just having a mechanism that takes the content that you created, short or long, and then post it. You're talking about actually utilizing the software aspects and leveraging that beyond just posting, right? Is that what you're really going at?
Yeah, it's like that good in, good out kind of concept. It's also in reverse. It's like your communication to the marketplace is going to determine your capabilities of attraction. It's like that's your fishing lure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you want to catch a fish and you throw out a crappy fishing lure, it's just going to be more difficult. There will be a random bite here and there, but to consistently catch fish, it's going to have to be consistent in that way. So to me, I feel like when you start to spend money like that, you're protecting the downside but not being too scared of risk. But you're gonna have to take a couple on the chin when you hire people, because you're just gonna have to try it. It's like one of them things that you have to. It's like kind of like golf. If you want to get good at golf, you're gonna have to spend some money. You're gonna spend some money golfing, and it's gonna suck. And you're gonna basically your money. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you're gonna have to. There's a lot of fishing trips I went on where we didn't catch anything. It's like you have to go through that. But I think at the end of the day, if I were to get somebody to help me, they would know that platform and that platform only inside and out, and they would know how to take my 30-minute uncut raw video and turn it into content that would be very on that platform. It would be, what do they call that, where it blends in but it stands out kind of thing. It's like what do they call that, where you're at? It's like magazines do it all the time. Like you'll pick a magazine up and you'll be reading it, and maybe you're reading an article and the whole article was like a helpful article and that's what you thought it was, but come to find out they were selling you something the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Native, when your content is native to the platform, where they're just consuming it as if it were an article or some helpful content. But
right.
It's like one guy that I used to learn from, he goes, the problem with your content is that your content is obvious. It's like when you're deer hunting or something and you put like a deer decoy out there, it's native. It's actually a decoy. It's actually an attractant, but it looks just like a deer standing out there.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
So your content, when you're creating it, it should just look like a deer standing out there. But actually, when they start reading it, they're in line of being caught.
But then how does Ty Lopez's content work? Because it's like you know, here in my garage with my Lamborghini, but I like books, and here's my $67 a month program. Like
He's
it was
appealing to
so,
the mindset that he's trying to attract. For me
yeah,
to sit here and try to unpack it all the way in a correct way would be very immature of me, because he knows his audience in such a way that he knew how to attract them. You know, I'd say he's got a younger audience, you know, flashy cars, you know, looking successful, but also being smart and kind of nerdy. You know, there's like this like appeal there maybe to that group. And he was the perfect front man for that. And he knew how to, you know, do that. Just like Steve Jobs was the front man for Apple. He knew how to transmit what it is that he knew how to attract the people. Grant Cardone, he knows how to attract that person. You and it doesn't, you know, it's just always that, because you can have, listen, you can have 400 pounds of solid platinum in your closet right now. But unless somebody that finds platinum valuable knows about it, you just have a bunch of shiny, heavy stuff in your closet.
you could have cesium 113, and the government would really like you.
But they wouldn't unless they knew that you had it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah.
You could have gold, you could have the best thing ever, but if nobody knows about it, and especially if you're creating something that's a new solution to a problem that does exist that people are trying to solve, if they don't understand, then it's very difficult for them to care about it or get it. And so, like Elon said, I couldn't get anybody to invest in SpaceX. He goes, it wasn't until I built an actual model. He goes, I had the best blueprints ever. He goes, I hired the best blueprint artists and engineers to take my engineering and redefine it in a way that was so simple and understood, even in 3D presentations and videos. And he said, it wasn't until we just built an actual dummy rocket, demo rocket, and built it and set it up did we start getting investors. So in your marketing, it's so important to understand where your audience. There's nothing really outside of knowing. I mean, the product, the determining factor of the quality and viability of your product is equally determined by how well you know the problem that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Or in engineering, if you don't truly understand the variables at play versus somebody that does, their structure will always outperform yours. If this engineer knows where there's more, you know, breakdown, or they understand the valence, or they understand the variables, like the more they understand each variable in the actual entirety of what you're working with, the other engineer will beat you, because all that is a push and pull. Does that make sense? I know that's very abstract. It seems very abstract, but at the end of the day, just figure out your damn person and study the crap out of them, because the more you know them, the more you can create something that helps them easier. And then now all of a sudden everything gets easier. Your marketing, everything. And then like if there's a boat out there that's already attracting all the fish around it, and they've chummed the waters more than you have, and they've got all the attention, why not ask them if you can go fish over there with them? If they say no, then they say no. If they say sure, that'd be great. You just came up, man. It's just leverage. It's like a JV, but it's not. I mean, it is. You know,
It's
it's a
an
joint
unofficial
venture.
JV.
Yeah, it's just, I remember one time Russell Brunson shared that story about how he got in front of Tony Robbins. He bought all of Tony Robbins's like books and stuff, and then ran an ad that said anybody that buys this thing or likes this post or does something gets this. It was a competition, and he ran an ad and he ran it to Tony Robbins's audience, and he just kept doing that, and he just kept. It was kind of like he kept showing up. It's like this fly that just kept showing up in Tony Robbins's like ear, you know, like squeaky wheel gets greased kind of deal. And like then he got a chance to go to his list and made it benefit for both of them. It's like a lumpy mail package. You know what I'm talking about? Lumpy mail. You remember ever hearing about lumpy mail where like people like if you get a piece of mail and it feels like it's got a lump in it or like it's got something in it, you'll make sure that that letter gets opened. So one of the ways to like get into big offices and stuff is people would buy little plastic feet on Amazon, like a foot, and they would stick it in a letter and write a little sales letter. And it would always be like, hey, I just wanted to get a foot in the door. And then they'd go into this like sales letter and it'd be a little plastic foot in a package. But when you, all the letters in your hand, if one of them's got a lump in it, you'll open it to see what that lump is. And it was a way to get in there. You can do that kind of thing in digital too. You can do that thing everywhere. But just remember, like, there's still people selling shoes. Shoes have been around a while. So you're just going to make the shoe better, easier, more attractive, more efficient. But just find where the people are. And just try more things, like create more pieces of content. I'm getting ready to do this piece of content. It's I created a little thing on Miro, and it's called "What Sounds Better: Job versus Online Business." And I've got like all I did with this piece of content was this. Screenshots prepared. So I just did this. I'm gonna have this in here where I'm gonna use this to pitch Build Lab, this little piece over here. But I just went in and did compare and contrast. So online business, pros and cons, like pros versus get a job. And then online business versus get a job. And then I came in here and I put income by age. I'm going to go over that. What puts you in the top 1%. And then I just started, I was like, what a paid subscription community looks like. If you're earning between 10 to 300 per member per month, imagine it's just 97 a month. And I do the math. And then I'm like, an average job income, if you're making what the average person makes for 3 years, you'll have a grand total of 193,000 versus if you got one member per day for 3 years with a 5% churn, you'd be at 97,000 per month after 3 years. And then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to be like, well, would you rather control? Do you want to have more control over your working hours and potential earnings, or be told when to work and how much you'll make? And then I'll turn this into short form, and each one of these will be its own little short form. And it's just like a big piece of chum that'll be out there in the water driving people back to make wants. But that's just my little piece of content. Just try different things. I have all kinds of little things. I got this other one here too, like how to make money on the internet in 2023. And I'm just going to show them what you can all use this for, giving them examples. And I just create these little sheets. I'm just like, huh. I'm just trying to have people have aha moments about what I'm doing. I want them to go, oh yeah, man, maybe I should just create a paid subscription community instead of working as a manager at Ray's grocery store making 65,000 a year. You know, maybe they're tired of that shit. and they're really smart with RC cars. I'm like, dude, if you really love RC cars and you know how to build them and get them ready for little RC races, why don't you just teach people everything you know for $39 a month, get 1,000 members in there. And now what you made every 6 months, you're making every month. And you get to play with the thing you love the most and hang out with the people you love hanging out with. Pretty
That's it
simple.
right there.
That's it. That's all it is.
That's it, man. You nailed it. Mic drop.
Actually, my friend who was my boss at the bike shop, he loves RC cars, but he tends to overcomplicate everything, and like that would be perfect for him. He loves teaching, he loves RC cars.
And there's
And
gobs of people that, and they just want to know the like little things. Like, for instance, the little newsletter idea that I gave you on here. Literally, when I heard that concept, it wasn't like I hadn't heard it like that or thought of it like that before, but it was said in a more simple way that I could grab a hold of it even easier and be like, oh, I can do this. But that one little idea is probably worth $1 million to me now.
A light bulb moment.
Yeah. Aha.
Aha. Why the hell have I not been doing this?
Right. And that's what you want people. And then when they say, oh, aha, now you've got them going, oh, I can do this. I see this is possible. I believe in that vehicle. Now they're going to be like, now I got to learn more about it. And they'll get on a little bit more, listen to another email. And then pretty soon they're like, I will go ahead and try this. And then if it works, they become an advocate. And that's one
Absolutely.
tiny micro tunnel of traffic that comes to you that you don't have to work for. And it's high ROI because it's like, oh, your tooth hurts, dude. The dentist down the road, mine was killing me. I went in and out. It's like it's amazing. I'm going to send them a Christmas card. They're going to go. You know what I mean? And that guy didn't have to do anything besides a good job. And that's why
Really,
that
what
all
you
comes
just
back
described as affiliate marketing in a way.
100,000%.
Just
Affiliate marketing is the
marketing.
same thing
Affiliate
as that
marketing
you're
is just
doing.
referring people. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And they'll do it more if they, like, if I knew I was going to get paid then too to send them to the dentist. Well, geez. But then it starts getting convoluted because then you're sending it because you don't care if they're good or not. You just, if you can get money from it. And that's where it starts to break down. The best thing is when it's actual without them getting compensated. Or even better, when they do get compensated and they love it. Truly.
That's what they call a win-win.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Mike, any questions or anything, any tips for finishing out this system.io portion of copy and pasting things over? Because I'm going to get that knocked out right now in the next hour or two.
Just once it's set up, go through it like you would expect somebody to go through it. You know, with like a different email altogether in like an incognito window, and just test everything. Make sure everything clicks to everything, and just make sure that when the door opens, what's supposed to be on the other side is there, you know?
Gotcha.
I don't want anybody to complicate the website, the funnel, the emails. I don't want you to I want you to just get that stuff connected and get it to flow and work, and then spend the majority of your time learning about your person and transmuting information through those things. You know, the email is a vessel, the landing page is a vessel, the social media is a vessel, but what's in the vessel is the message. That's the thing that matters, you know.
Gotcha.
Get your fishing pole set up and the string on it, you know, and then spend all your time making sure it's the right lure. And that you're there to cast the damn thing. Like, do the work of creating the content.
Mhm.
And people are like, well, I don't
Gotcha.
want to have to create content forever. You won't, bruh. But you got to do a little bit to get things moving. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
then you can get a dude to do it for you. You know what I mean? If you want that. Most of you, if you just
Well,
bust
I
your
see on
ass,
the sales page of this System.io website that you do have these graphics. So I have to just plug and play with those as well.
are you talking about the picture that looks like a video?
It says that, and then it has underneath it, what do you need to become a successful online entrepreneur? And it has those
Oh, you're talking about the
icons, and
sales
then
page.
below that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could just, um, you know, put the same thing there, just make it different.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can adjust that however you want. I'm getting ready to release one where it doesn't have any of that stuff on it. It's just going to be a
Okay.
video and a button to buy. That's it. Because less is more. I mean, I'm going to make sure that the video does everything.
Mm-hmm.
But some people like to read. But then I feel like it's kind of like a shelf with a bunch of bottles of wine on it or something. If it just had one there, you would buy it and you would leave. But if there's an entire goddamn wall, 6 shelves high of Cabernet, it's like you got to spend 20 minutes before you can even figure it out.
Right.
So it's
All right.
like,
Sounds good.
yeah, I would honestly, like, the first one, I wouldn't even worry about all that crap. Just hide it or whatever. Just put that video on the page with the payment form on there. I'm gonna put other ones in there. I'm gonna give you guys different ones, but my best one just was just blank.
Gotcha.
That's the first time I've really ever went hard on building out a sales page that long. It works, but I think it probably would convert the same without it. If it just,
Mhm.
but then the video has to do a better job. I have to create a different kind of video.
Right. That's all I got.
Yeah. All right.
Mike,
Anybody
it's
else have any
always
other
a
questions?
value. Appreciate your time, buddy. I'll catch you
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah, I'll be sharing more about this process with the newsletter thing. I'm excited about it, and that's what the next whole phase is. You know, that freaking traffic engine. It's going to be all that stuff. Everything that I'm getting from things that I'm learning to and doing, it'll all be in that whole section where be pillar 8 will be just filled with all that kind of stuff, because that's what that whole thing's about. That whole pillar 8, you know, the turn your community into, you know, or turn your audience into a community, and then your community into customers. That's be filled with that stuff.
And Bajan, if you don't mind posting that information you were talking about around LinkedIn on the community, that sounded really interesting. I'd like to delve into that deeper.
Okay, you got it.
Appreciate it, man. You guys have a great day.
As well.
All right. You guys cool? Everybody good?
Yeah, I just have a quick, I have a quick question. I'm at module 7 where I'm doing the brain dump and I'm using Miro, and I'm loving it. It's really great tool. But I was wondering if all the designs that you're doing are these things that you're building yourself, or do you have a designer that you're working with, or is it just testing different things and seeing how they fit together?
I design all of it myself.
Okay,
And I just,
got it.
one thing that I did recently look at that's helped, sort of, I mean, I'm kind of artsy the way it is. So, and I kind of like, I'm okay with designing things a little bit like schematics, and just, I kind of do that anyway. But if you look at, infographics, I started going on to like Google Images and typing in infographics, and I started getting some ideas of how to organize information on a single page using infographics, as a something to kind of look at.
Right.
But I'm always trying to diagram things, and like, how they'll take something and they'll explode all the pieces and then put a little arrow to it, and it's like number 8, and then you got to go down to the legend and it says like, whatever it is. That's kind of how I think about it, because it's like, that's what people give people to put together complex components so that they can actually put it together or take it apart. And so that's the way I kind of think about what I'm doing, is like, how can I do that?
Okay, and that's
And then
kind
you
of
can
like
go in
how
and
I
explain each little piece.
right, and that's kind of how I started with Miro, by looking at the templates that they have
Mhm.
and taking those and sort of customizing them to what I was trying to get to.
And what I did initially was, for me personally, when I draw things out, I understand them better. Like if I draw, like in a funnel, if I draw the boxes and the emails, for some reason it just I don't know, I guess I'm pretty simple that way, but like the more I can see how everything fits together, the better I can use it. And so I used Miro and stuff like that as a tool for myself to just organize my own thoughts and things like that. And then it became like, well, this is cool. I'll just record my screen and explain what I'm doing here and how this works. And then you naturally like, oh, you can do these icons, and then, oh, I can make it these colors, and then it just becomes sort of like a little picture you're building that helps people. It's like a little
Right,
map.
and actually it does, and actually it helped me in, when I was on TikTok, to stop
Mhm.
and look at what you were doing, because I would see part of it, and then as the video progressed, I would see the other parts, and it made me stop. So it's definitely
Yes.
something I want to try
Yeah, it's
with
very
my
catchy
content
on
once I get there.
yeah. On content like TikTok, people love when I do the Miro boards on TikTok. There's so, but I get it too though. It's easier to understand. You can, it's like, have you ever heard people say connect the dots? It's like, can you connect the dots? And a lot of times it is just create a dot and then connect it to the next dot. You know what I mean? And those dots are just the
Yeah.
steps in what you're doing. And if you're talking about, carrots, you know, and how to cut up a carrot in 3 steps, then, it's like, here's the whole carrot. Here's what the carrot looks like as I'm chopping it. And then here's the chopped up carrot, and it's like, it
Right.
just helps them put that all together. It's like when we go eat sushi, I'm like, man, which roll did we get last time? Cause that one was so good. And I can't remember which one it was. And so when they put the pictures on there, I'm always like, oh yeah, remember it's that one,
Right.
because they had the little hoo-hoo on it, and I'm like, okay. And
Right.
so it's just those simple things like that.
Mhm.
Um,
Got it.
Bill says, how do I find out when you go live on TikTok uh, or anyone for that matter? The only way is to have notifications for that user set to all. Well, there you go. I didn't even know that. So
It doesn't always work though. For TikTok is just weird. Like it doesn't always give you the notification, but for me, Sahil always sends me when someone's live, which I love.
I
I
love that
love
you
getting,
guys connect like that, man. That's so
yeah.
cool.
No,
That's
this is
so
cool. And we
cool.
both, our first call was the same day, I think. So that was really neat.
Yeah. I one of my goals is I want to be able to create like one super solid, maybe two super solid YouTube videos each week that generate as much traffic and leads as going live and stuff like that. And I just want to focus on creating, good pieces of content that do the work of going live, because then it's even more efficiency. And I just, I think it's like, I don't think it's just a one hit wonder though. It's like, it takes a lot. It just takes a lot.
There's a guy with a TikTok course, and I watch his videos sometimes just as a reminder, like how to optimize TikTok, which is just consistency. But every video he posts is the same thing, basically. It's like post at these times, the algorithm doesn't care about this stuff, blah blah blah. And then his call to action is join my course, which is like $297 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But every video is the same, basically, the same basic information.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, how much can you really say about a basketball?
Yeah.
if that's what you sell. You're just going to be talking about basketballs in a lot of different ways. It's like, how can I say the same thing 1,000 different ways? And that's really what it is. And just constantly touching on the drivers that, again, remember, never forget this. There's 3 core things that people have to overcome before they'll like release their cash or time. And that is, I don't feel like I can do this. Like, it's an internal disbelief that they don't think that no matter how good your thing is and how great it is and everything, I don't think that I can do this. Number 2 is, I do think I can do this, but there's stuff outside of me that's stopping me. I've got kids. I've got a job. I've got this. I've got this. This is this holding me back. And then number 3 is, I don't believe in the vehicle that you're offering me. I don't think that the product or the service is good. You just have, you're constantly overcoming these 3 things. You get those 3 things overcame, they'll buy your from point A to point B, and whatever that is. And you don't necessarily get all 3 in one piece of content. It just happens as the cascade of content. But then the more you can get all 3 knocked down in each piece of content, the less they have to worry about the cascade of content. It's like, instead of having to find the right pieces to connect the dots, if you can try to connect most of the dots in each one of the pieces, then it's quicker to them getting to buying the thing. Your VSL essentially should knock those 3 things down. So you just keep driving them back to that thing using all these little pieces, all these little crumbs. That makes sense. All right. Well, I'm going to take my little thing here. We create some content. Got my little setup here.
Alrighty, Mike. Take care.
All right, guys. I will see you on Monday.
Here's my tripod.
Yeah.
Oh,
This thing.
oh.
It's one of the, but I thought it was metal when I ordered it off Instagram, but it's plastic,
Huh.
which is a little bit, and it's
That's
$40.
sweet, though.
It is pretty
That's
cool.
sweet, though.
My other phone case, it didn't really work so well, but with this one, it seems to work. Yeah, it's called Pocket Tripod.
You ought to put that in the group somewhere.
Yeah, let me see if they have an affiliate thing.
There you go, brother. All right. Well, I will see you guys Monday and around the program. If you guys need anything, let me know.
Yeah.
You guys.